we've talked about adding questions. We've talked about adding drivers. And now with those two combined, we're getting accurate estimates for our customers. Now we're going to do the most important part, which isn't actually anything to do with the calculation itself. It's how the widget is arranged. Now this is going to play a big part in the sales ability of your widget. So we'll want to make sure that we get this set up correctly. You go to Tools and Widget Pages. Now we give you a default widget here, and you're more than welcome to leave it alone if you would prefer. However, I strongly recommend to take full advantage of this powerful feature and customize the widget to your company's needs. So basically the idea here is that instead of handing you a fully complete puzzle, we're just giving you a bunch of little pieces. They're called modules in Compass Wave. These modules can be pieced together to create whatever picture you'd like, or whatever you'd like your widget to end up being. We have collect address, collect contact info, ask questions. These do pretty much what they say they do. They're fairly self-explanatory. This one collects the address. It asks the customer for their address, their apartment, their zip code. Collect contact info. Ask them for their email, their name, and their phone number. Ask questions. Asks the questions that we set up in a previous video. Now keep in mind that these modules have two parts to them. They have the piece that is shown on the screen, like in collect address. The actual box that the user has to type into, they have to type their address in that box. That's actually on the screen, but that's only the first part. There's the second part where we actually save that address behind the scenes. That second part, just keep this in mind, happens in between the pages. So the customer will fill all these out. He'll type in his address, his contact information, answer the questions. However, the functionality of saving all that information and doing all the calculations and whatever's necessary only happens after that form after they click next step and they go into the next page. So that might seem a little bit confusing if you're not a techie person, but that's all right. The gist of that is that you don't want to take the modules like calculate estimate cost, which only have that second portion where they actually do the calculations and whatnot. You don't want to put them on the last page because there's no next step button on the last page because it's the last page, and that stuff will never get run. For example, send company email and send customer email. You don't want those on the last page because those emails will never get sent. So just keep that in mind. If you have any questions about it, I know that might sound a little confusing. We're here to help. Just click the orange chat button in the bottom right, and we'll get right back to you with some advice on how to set up your widget. So what's next? We talked about these four here. Let's see. Well, on page 2, we have display aerial view. That is, again, fairly self-explanatory. It just shows an aerial view of the house from Google Maps. Display results shows them the results of their estimate, and show report link shows them a link to a PDF report that they can see their estimate on, and that is also available. That same report is also available from the sales database. However, this is fully customizable. That's the benefit of our system. So if you look over here on the right, we have available modules. Now these are not playing any part in my widget so far, but I can drag them into the widget. So sort of imagine this imaginary box to the left and to the right. To the left is everything in your widget. To the right is everything that's not in your widget. So let's create some more pages. I'm going to make a 4-page widget. Add new page until I get 4 pages. If you look, they show up empty right now. We don't want any empty pages. That might be a little awkward in the widget itself. So if you get empty pages by the end, you can just click delete page on them. But I actually want 4 here, and I'm going to start dragging some of these in. Now I want to move. I'll keep display aerial view on the second page, and I want display results and show report link on the third page. Now, if you look on the right, we actually have a lot of available modules here. Now, I'm going to drag some of these to the top of the list. This is just reordering, so it doesn't actually matter all that much. But it might be interesting to note, I just separated some of these from book appointment on down to select available times, these 6 right here. They have to do with our scheduling system. We have another video on that. Definitely check the calendar video out. Push to Zapier has to do with our integrations, another really amazing part of CompassWave, but I'll save that for the integrations video. Let's see. But these top ones here that are left over, we actually can move them into our widget however we'd like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag confirm rooms and confirm square feet onto the second page. Confirm rooms and confirm square feet do very similar things. After we've gotten the address in between the pages here, it sort of calculates how big the house is in square feet and how many bedrooms, bathrooms, kitchens, hallways, other rooms it has. It uses real estate sources to gather this data. And so in the confirm rooms and confirm square feet modules, it actually will ask the customers to confirm that data. Perhaps they had a recent addition that's not showing up on Zillow yet. Well, that might cause the estimate to be a little bit off, and so sometimes we want to give the customers the option to edit that data before we start doing calculations on it. Again, that's up to you, however you want to do that. Now note that if they change the rooms in square footage, we want to make sure that that's reflected in the calculation cost. And so we wouldn't want the calculation to happen before they confirm the square feet or rooms. So I'm going to drag this calculate estimate cost to the second page. One thing to keep in mind. Redirect. This usually happens on the last page because once you get to the last page, you might want to take them to your company site, or maybe you had your web developer, or perhaps you're using a hosting service like WordPress or like Wix or something, and you created a sort of thank you page. Perhaps you want to redirect them here. Well, you can do that. I'm going to pretend that compasswave.com is our company page here, or our thank you page, or whatever. I'm going to redirect them to compasswave.com after 2 seconds. Make sure we click Save Changes always. That's very important because this doesn't change by itself. It's up here in the corner. Then there are Send Company Email and Send Customer Email, the last ones we're going to talk about today. Emails are a very powerful way of keeping in front of your customers' minds. So you may not have locked in the customer yet. Maybe they're still on the fence. Maybe they're deciding between you and another company. Well, to give you the edge, you want to make sure that you're reminding them of their estimate, reminding them that you're there and ready to serve them. And so the Send Customer Email module is actually going to send them an email so that when they open up their email inbox later, they see the reminder from your cleaning company. Send Company Email is a similar thought, except that one is obviously going to the company. Perhaps you would like to keep track of when you are getting your estimates, your estimate widget filled out, without having to log into CompassWave every 10 minutes. That's a very efficient way of sort of letting CompassWave do its thing, and then whenever you get an estimate, you can log in and take care of it. So I'm going to drag that to the third page as well. These email modules, just another note, this is one of the modules that kind of, the functionality happens in between pages, so you want to make sure it's not on the last page. again, that's just a helpful reminder there. But this looks like a decent widget we've got set up here. It's a little more complex than the one we started out with, but this is customized. And again, you will go into using the rest of these modules. I do highly suggest that you use as many as possible if that's the vein you want to go down. Or if you'd like to keep it simple, just going with the bare bones default that we set. But it's up to you, whatever you think will support your business. So I'm going to come back to these 3 buttons here. If you look down here, let's see, we have the collect address, collect contact info, and ask questions pages. Just refresh the page there just to make sure it's all working correctly. So what I'll do is we'll create an estimate for Joe Schmo in Schenectady, New York. It's 12345. If you notice what's happening here, you see these little, there are more spacing in between some fields. That's because that's where the module ends. We included this as sort of a subtle way to tell the company where the modules are ending without it being too obvious to the user. So this is actually up here, the first one, the collect address module, the collect contact info module, and down here, the Ask Questions module. These are the questions, obviously, that we created earlier. So if I go to the next step, it shows me the aerial view of this house. We scroll down as 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. This is taken from Zillow. And so perhaps I put on a recent addition to give me a guest bathroom. So I'll turn that into 2. And that created, I don't know, just making up numbers here, 1,000 square feet. If you notice again, this is the display aerial view module, the confirm rooms module, and the confirm square foot module. Click next step. So now we have the results. In total, this cleaning could cost $151.05 to $182.85. This includes state tax if applicable. That is the display results module. We see the get your estimate PDF link here. That is the show report link module. Now if you notice, we actually have send customer email and send company email on this page as well. But those don't actually show anything to the user. They happen after we click next step. So that's that last thing there. We click next step, and it should redirect us to compasswave.com inside of there. So now that we moved to the next step, those emails were sent, and then we were redirected on the last page. So it's a very powerful tool. It's very customizable. I know I say that about everything with Compass Wave, but it really is. If you have any questions about it at all, give us all of your questions with the orange chat bubble in the bottom right. The last page, or the last little thing that I wanted to mention is this Stack Pages button here. Now, if you noticed, the pages when we were going through them kind of switched out. You might not have noticed this. The pages kind of switched instead of stacked. That's just our terminology for it, but it's easier if I show it to you. See here, we'll make another estimate for Joe Schmo. And watch where the next page appears. If I click next step, well, the old page didn't disappear, it just grayed out, and it scrolled us down to this next page down here. That's what we call stacking. Or you can switch between pages. This button up here on the right here, that's just a little toggle between the two. So you get to decide which functionality you like more. That comes into play a little bit in the quotes section as well.